Hi everyone. So today I am going to be going over one of my abdominal workouts. So I have several depending on what it is that I'm preparing myself for um, and what it is that I'm getting my students ready for. So it just kind of depends on the day and the circumstance. I have a different abdominal workout right before a performance than on training days, on days when I'm rehearsing. And then I have another one for like a daily maintenance that I do. So it just sort of depends on what I'm working on and what specifically I want to target. The one that I'm going to give you today is sort of an overall explanation of my most basic everyday abdominal workout. This is what I do every day when I get up. This is what I do when I am teaching and I want my students to strengthen their core and strengthen their abdominal wall and their transverse muscles. I really want them to be able to tap into certain parts of the abdominal wall and the core, and that's why this, I believe, is a great sort of overall workout for that. Today I'm just going to show it. I'm not going to actually do it to the fullest extent because I first just want to get you started to understand the exercises, do them, a few repetitions of each, and then in my next tutorial we'll just go through them. So start out like anything, like any program that's more workout oriented. I would definitely, consult with a doctor, make sure that you're strong enough to do this, make sure that your back is okay. If you have a bad lower back, if you have issues with your back, always be very careful with abdominal workouts. There's always modifications for them. As a general rule, when you're lying on the ground, the closer your knees are to your chest, the easier it is on your lower back. Just keep that in mind. So if you feel like something hurts and your legs are out to here, bring the knees in closer. There are certain exercises that you would want to eliminate if you have issues with your lower back. Always engage the abdominals, always engage the core. Don't lurch, don't jerk, don't force something that is hurting or that isn't working for you. Okay? So, that being said, we're going to start with the first exercise. You're going to lie on the ground, roll your spine down so that you can feel every vertebrae on the ground. Your feet are planted into the ground, and you want to feel every single vertebrae on the ground, no gaps. Engage the lower abdomen. So that is right in the, right above, right below your belly button, and even a little bit deeper. So right at the very, 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 very deepest part of that abdominal wall, work up into the belly button and then up in towards the sternum. Just try and feel what that feels like. Flat on the ground, breathe normally. From here, legs up, keep that flat back on the ground, cross the legs at the ankles. Now, you're going to gently, without pulling from the neck, using your abdomen, using these abdominal muscles, lift up, shoulder blades off the ground. Once you've established that position, make sure your neck is soft. Don't tighten it. Don't lead with the neck. Use the abdominals to gently pulse up, engaging the abdominals inward. 1, 2. Never let the shoulder blades touch the ground again. 5, 6, 7, 8. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And come down. The reason I do 2 sets of 8 is because usually we'll be doing this with music, and so that way you're counting along with the music and you're going with the musical phrases. They're usually in 4, so that way you can sort of stay on time with the music, unless you're listening to jazz or something else that might be in different time signature. But this just kind of keeps it easy. If you're listening to a song with a beat, like a rock or a pop song, it's easy to stay in time with the music that way. So today we're just going to do 16 of each, so 2 sets. Normally we work our way up to 6 sets, so it's 48 of each. So basically you'll be eventually doing 50 repetitions of each. exercise. So that's the first one. The second one, we bring our arms behind our back. Again, lift those shoulder blades off the ground. You should not feel the shoulder blades on the ground at all. From here, left elbow to right knee. 1, and switch. 2. Now you're going to feel one shoulder blade on the ground at a time. That's fine. But you don't want to flop down. I'll show you how not to do it after we're done. Last set. 1, 2, breathe, some again. 3, 4, 5, keep breathing. 7, and 8. Come down gently. What you want to avoid in that one is this. Okay? So don't flop down in between. Keep yourself elevated the entire time. Do you see that? Keep your hips stable. Don't let the hips wobble around. All right, so that's our second exercise. Our third, you drop your legs to the side. In this case, I'm going to my right. You're going to bring yourself up on that the right side of your body. Still hands clasped behind your head. Still relaxed neck. Elbow up to the ceiling. And now small pulses. These are almost imperceptible. What you're doing is, again, you're working those transverse muscles. You're working those lateral muscles. 1, 2. Don't let the hip get involved. 4, 5. It's a very small action. 1, 2. Stomach in. 3. Keep breathing. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we switch. Here we go. Look up to the ceiling. Try and reach the elbow up to the ceiling. Do not engage the hips. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should feel it in here. 5, 6. It's a very small movement. 8. I'll tell you why later. 2, 3, 4. Stomach in. 5. Keep breathing. 6, 7, and 8. So that's 2 sets of 8 on each side of that. Next, we do bicycle. So the bicycle could be really hard on your lower back. So if you have lower back issues, this one might be a good one to sit out and just take a rest. For the rest of you, legs in, shoulders off the ground again. We're going to extend one knee. So in this case, I'm extending my left, and now my left elbow is going to my right knee. And switch. And switch. So we're going to do 1, 2, stomach in. 3, don't flop down. 4, keep that torso elevated. 6, 7, keep breathing. 8, again. 1, make sure you extend that straight leg. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, keep breathing. 7, and 8. What you want to avoid with that one, this. I don't want to see, your grandmother in her Silver Sneakers program over at the YMCA. Though, you know what? Actually, they're kind of hardcore. So, maybe be like grandma. All I'm saying is, get on it and do it. Don't be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Hands here. Each position is very, very defined. Okay? My legs are straight. My straight leg is straight. My bent knee is all the way in, so I can reach that elbow to that knee. All right, from here, don't flop down. You're going to come straight up. The idea is to continue engaging the muscles. You don't want to just flop down. All right, from here, we're going to do small pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to work up to 8, then 16, then 32. We don't do a lot of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to work up to 8, and then 16 of those, and then move it all the way up. Usually of those, I stop at around 32. For those, if you have problems with your lower back, don't do those either. All right, be really careful with oh my gosh, the bicycle, this one that we just did, and then this one where you're in V formation. Be really careful with those two, okay, if you have problems with your lower back. From here, we're going to go into our plank. I do a plank for 1 minute, and then I tap my hip on the ground just to get a nice workout in those lateral muscles again, and the transverse muscles, and working into the band that folds around from the back to the front. So, again, you're going to go to your stomach. I clasp my hands. You don't have to, but I like to do that. I tuck my toes under, engage the belly here, and up. There you go. Feet together, and hold it. We're going to just hold today for 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You want to work your way up to a minute. From there, take your right hip, tap, and up. Belly in, tap, and up. We're just going to do 4. Tap, and up. Don't sink. Tap, and up, and hold it, and gently come down. Eventually, you want to work towards getting about 20 taps or more, if you can, on each side, okay? I don't do more than a minute in plank just because it flattens out my abdominal wall and makes me a little bit straight. I like to work on stuff that also works my waist a little bit more, which is why I add the hip taps. I've heard that some people like to go into plank 2 to 5 minutes. Personally, I don't, just because of the shape that it gives me, but that's up to you. What not to do. When you're in plank, you want to avoid sagging, so you don't want to be here and then let the hips sag down. That's really bad for your lower back. Make sure you're straight like a plank, but you also want to avoid this, piking, okay? So you want to make sure you're straight. I would do this in front of a mirror until you get a nice feel for what the body looks like, okay? So those are my abdominal exercises. From there, you must stretch out what you just worked out. Today, you're not going to really feel it probably just because we've only done, we've done less than 20 of each repetition, so there's really not much that's gotten worked, but eventually you're building your way up. So after you're done, you finish with your plank, you finish with your taps, you come down, and now you're going to come up and stretch all the way up. You don't have to come this high. Come as far as it takes to feel a stretch in that abdominal wall. Remember, when you've worked a muscle group, you want to then stretch that muscle group out in the opposite direction. So if we've been contracting the muscles, and we want to extend and elongate them. Breathe. Please breathe. Your body needs oxygen. And up. Breathe. Exhale and down. From here, you're going to go back into child's pose and release the tension in the back. Really pull those arms forward. Pull those hips back. Really sit back into your heels as much as you can. And release all the tension in the back. Release the tension in the hips. Release the tension in the neck. And just breathe. We're going to spend about a minute here. From here, we tuck our toes under. And we come up into what yogis would call downward dog, right? So now from here, we go into, I like to use this time also to stretch out my calves to get me started for the day. So in order to do that, you would bring the heel down on one foot while you bend the leg on the other. Bend the knee of the other and bring that other heel up, and then switch. That's how you start to get a nice stretch in the calves. Make sure your back is straight, your body is in line. Keep your weight evenly distributed on those arms and in through those shoulders. Nice and easy. And stretch another side. Bring it up. In You're going to hang. Make sure your weight is forward towards the front of your feet, not hanging back off your heels. Just stay here for a little while. Gently bend the knees. Leaving the neck loose, engaging again from the abdominals. And gently, gently, one vertebrae at a time, you're going to roll up. So that is the overview of my abdominal workout. Like I said, today we did 16 of each. We eventually work our way up to almost 50 of each, to 48 of each. These are wonderful, specifically for flamenco, because they work the lower abdominal wall and they work the transverse muscles. When I go in for a preparation for a turn, my body's prepared. It's ready to spring back out of that twist. That's why I do so much lateral work. It really warms this up. For the marking, when you're here marking, when you're expanding and then you bring it in, you got it? This has to be really well worked. For the footwork, in order to get your hips up off the ground and in order to get your torso, the weight of your torso up off your hips, you need to use your abdominal wall. We do not use our legs in flamenco, even a quarter amount that we use our torso. This is where the power lies. It all radiates from here. You radiate up and out, all from that core. If that core is loose, if that core is saggy, if it's weak, you're going to have all sorts of problems in speed, in footwork, in your lift, in your ability to turn, in your ability to attack and react. It's much, much harder. So you want to make sure that this area stays really, really strong and really in tune and connected to the rest of your body. So that's why I've kind of worked this particular series the way I do in this order to get me ready for the day's work. I will do many other abdominal workout tutorials that can go deeper for different types of workouts. If you're really, really heavily working on your feet, there's a different workout for that. Before performances, there's another workout for that. So this is just like a good daily workout. Wake up, warm up your body, and warm up your abdominal wall with this abdominal series. Okay, so we'll call this abdominal series number 1, and more to come. My next follow-up tutorial to this will be me taking you through it all the way to 50. So that way you can do it with me in the morning if you'd like, and just stop at whatever number you're in until you get to the full series. Okay? Thank you. Bye.